we are going to solve percent increase, decrease word problems using the proportional equation y equals kx. Let's consider this problem. Xavier scored 20% more points on the video game than Shreya. We're comparing Xavier's points to Shreya's points. Shreya's points represent 100%. That is our variable x. Now, Xavier's total points represent y. He has 20% more points, so his total points represent 120% of what Shreya has. Let's take a look at the equation. Again, whoever we're comparing to is my variable x. They represent 100%. Y, in this case, represents all of Xavier's points. And K, the total percent that Xavier has of Shreya's points. I'm substituting the value for all of Shreya's points and 120%. And for the simple equation, you will find that Xavier has 1,440 points. Now, there's another way to look at this problem. So let's look at the next problem. Okay, I still have Xavier having 20% more points than Shreya. Shreya is still my point of reference, the number of points she has. Now, I want to know how many more points. I could subtract from the last problem, but I want to show you what it looks like on a double number line. Now here we said y was the total number of points that Xavier has. And x is the number of points that Shreya has. If I used a k of 120%, I will find Xavier's total number of points. But if I look at 20% as the percent more, that would calculate a y of the points more. Depending on what k you use is going to tell you what y you're going to use. So let's do this calculation. Now, I'm looking for y. Instead of a k of 120%, I'm going to use 20% of Shreya's total points. And when I do this, I find out that Xavier scored 240 more points. And from the last problem, we know that if we subtracted Xavier's 1,440 points and Shreya's 1,200 points, I would get 240 more points as well. But this shows you how you can use either the percent more or the total percent. Let's look at another problem. A European bakery used 12% less sugar this month than last month. Whenever you have time, you're comparing the later date to the earlier date. Last month has to be my x. It is my point of reference. I am comparing this month to last month. So my 100% is last month. 12% less is 88% of. That would be this month. So which one do you use? Do you use the 12% or the 88%? If you want to know the total amount, so I want to know the total amount of sugar used this month. In that case, if I'm looking for the total sugar this month, I need to use the 88%. Write your percent as a decimal. Put in the value that you have for X, or whatever values you have in the appropriate spot. And I find out that I am going to use 220 pounds of sugar this month. However, if the question was asked differently, and I wanted to know how much less sugar, I would be looking for this value, so I would need to use 12%. So I used 250 pounds of sugar last month, so X is 250. In this case, I don't need the Y above the 88%. I am looking for the number of pounds more or less, the number of pounds less. So I'm using the 12% of 250 pounds. And now I can find out that I'm using 30 pounds less sugar because I use the percent less. I hope that helps.